then the other problem is that of facing challenges. We are talking here about unforeseen circumstances because they do happen. And let us say, for instance, there could be one of the parties is laid off from work and they are not working for a long time. How does the family deal with that issue? It could be an issue of illness, a severe illness that may start to challenge the family both emotionally and financially. And we need to be mature enough and skillful enough to know how to deal with this without easily giving up. But he has seen that some parties that are married, they show up and they just divorce and they say, I didn't sign up for this, when they are facing those critical issues in life. And he says we ought to ask ourselves, when we get married, how far are we prepared to go with the other person? How far are we prepared to deal with them? And we need to be focused on being, and it's not only one-sided, it's all parties together contributing towards that success when they are dealing with issues. And I think this is going to be the last one, and we're talking about infidelity in the marriage. It is also a very the statistics don't lie, and he sees 90% of people showing up wanting to be divorced because there is infidelity in the marriage. And there's different types of infidelities, but he's also saying if it's infidelity regarding sleeping with another person outside of the marriage, then there are cases where somebody has genuinely made a mistake by doing so and they're remorseful. How do we deal with a remorseful person? He says there are those that do it and it becomes um, a point where they realize that they really need their spouse more than they had anticipated. But dealing with infidelity, there is no right or wrong answer. But he says, as much as is possible, married couples need to be prepared that at some point or other there could be infidelity, and they should be prepared to, say, go for counseling, for instance, as an option rather than divorce. There has to be there could be mediation where they bring in a third party to come and say we have this problem in the house and we would like you to mediate and help us deal with it. But he also says it goes a lot with emotional maturity, and there has to be an element of forgiveness where there is remorse on the party that has done the wrong. And he is saying, as much as divorce could be the answer, let it be the last resort. When there is infidelity, there are many things that could be done. But he says the best thing to deal with infidelity is not to have infidelity in the first place. And he gives an example with Mike Pence. Mike Pence was known for not sitting with a female for lunch if they were only to be seated by themselves. In other words, without other people. And some people thought this was for a vice president. It meant that people should be having access to him were deprived of that access because he had a personal issue. But he is saying, look, at the end of the day, we could say that Mike Pence understood his weaknesses and let everybody know their weaknesses and not get into situations where they may find themselves exposed to those very weaknesses that they know they have. But he says if we go over infidelity, we need to allow healing to take place and to work towards rebuilding trust. And the last slide is not a problem, but perhaps it's just the conclusion to say for married couples, from time to time, we need to go back and ask ourselves, why did we get married in the first place? And if we can find that answer, then let's work towards maintaining it. Because we get married to create joy in our lives, to bring happiness into each other's lives. We get married so that there would be mutual growth, supporting each other in terms of personal growth and personal development. And we get married so that we can continue to grow in the connection that we have, building a partnership that is meaningful for our relationship. And let everybody who is married at least do that checkpoint. Why did we get married in the first place? And let's know the purpose, the true purpose of our marriage. And that is what we should focus on.